Paul
pumped
Scheer.
You're pumped.
Hey, what's going on?
up, man?
Welcome, man. How are you?
Good, very good.
So I was telling, this is Mike Cannon.
Hey, Mike.
Very
how are
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I was telling Mike that
People like you, Mike. People I saw on Twitter. A lot of
Is that
people are
right?
very excited that you're here.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, you know what? I'm into Mike.
All right.
did that make you feel like I'm also going to be on the show? Like you could say something nice about me?
Well, no. I mean, he was already there. Like, I feel like, you know, I was watching. You know, I got to watch. I got to see what's going on. You know, got to see what my competition is.
So, like, I was telling Mike that I try not to speak in hyperbole.
Yes.
But at first, I was going to say The Disaster Artist is easily my most anticipated film of the year. But when I started to, like, really think about it,
Yeah.
I was like, I may be more excited about this film's release than any other film in the history of filmmaking.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not modern history. I
Just
mean, like,
the history of wow.
of any filmmaking ever. Do you feel like...
By the way, I believe it, and
Yeah.
I think it's justified.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I mean, for me, it would be Roger Rabbit too, but but you know, it's definitely up there. No, it's a crazy thing. I mean, if you're a fan of The Room, which if you don't know what The Room is this movie made by Tommy Wiseau, and I always describe it as like Tennessee Williams put through Google Translate. You know, it's like, what am I watching? This is insane. People like don't do anything that normal people do. It's like an alien like saw a snapshot of human behavior. It's like, I got it. And
Yeah.
like, oh, don't you want to do some more research? No, I got it.
I got it.
Like and you know, like the characters in this movie, they drink like a thing called a scotchka, which is scotch and vodka. No one does that. That's not a
No.
thing.
I've never heard of that ever happening.
Exactly. Like,
I would.
It's like, so it's like one of the most insane things, and this movie is so bizarre and so weird, and it's got this like big cult following. But then, as years have come out, like you start to understand the guy behind the movie. This guy Tommy Wiseau
Yeah.
is one of the most interesting, bizarre dudes. A dude that you could literally ask, "What did you eat for breakfast?" and he will not give you a straight answer.
No.
Like that. Like he is. Not of this world. Like he, like yeah.
It's amazing with this movie because like you watch it and in your head, I think the first time people watch it, as long as some people are just like this sucks, but
Right.
the people who get obsessed with it,
Yeah.
they start trying to think of ideas of like how did this happen? What was his thinking here? And then the guy who stars in it, Greg Sestero, wrote this book called The Disaster Artist. And you read this book, and the actual story behind the making of this movie is so far beyond whatever you could come up with in your own head.
It's amazing. It's like I always say, if you don't like The Room, you're wrong. Because you know, but what it is like The Room is like an ayahuasca experience, right? Because you hear about it, like I want to do that. That would be fun. You got to get the right group of people to walk you through it. But then there's going to be moments where I got to leave. This is terrible. And those friends have to be like, no, it gets better. You have to sit through it. So if you've walked out of The Room or have not watched the full thing, I urge you, stick with it because it does pay off. And it's the only movie that gets better and better. And then when you hear the stories behind the movie, it's fascinating.
And like, so I thought I'd done it all, right? I saw the movie multiple times. I read the book, and then I listened to the book on tape because Greg Sestero's Tommy Wiseau impression is like the most incredible thing you've ever heard. Yeah. Then I did it all, right?
Right.
I go to one of these screenings where Greg is there, you know, he reads from the original script, and like I gotten to know him a little bit through my obsession. And he goes, have you ever seen the script for the movie? And I was like, no, I hadn't even thought of it. And he goes, Sam, the original script for The Room is so much weirder than the actual movie. He's like, here, and he gives me the script, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
I just saw that Tommy, amazing marketer, sells the script on his website for $17.99. This guy has made the biggest movie, like I guess the best worst movie ever, but he's marketed it to such an extreme. Like he makes Kevin Hart look like like he is like slacking on you know, it's like Tommy's got his own underwear, he's got his own shirts, ties, selling scripts, movies. Like this
it's also the
doing...
ideas. He's like, okay, I got DVDs, I got movie posters. I guess I should do underwear. Like that's
such an odd thing. It's like when you buy his DVD off his website, you get a card in there. It's like, get some Tommy Wiseau underwear, and I'm gonna tell you, they're pretty comfortable.
But it's also you get the DVD off the website. Because you have to.
Yes.
Because it's nowhere digitally.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It's not on iTunes or Netflix or anything. You can't buy it anywhere except on his website.
So it is like rad. I had to buy Rad off of
Rad.
a weird. Yes, it's my favorite movie of all time.
Oh my gosh!
I had to buy that off of some weirdo's website.
Right.
Well, the only difference is that's probably not that's not like the guy who made Rad going like, I don't want to share this with the world. Tommy's like, oh, can I make a ton of money, but because I can print a Blu-ray DVD for like 50 cents and sell it to you for $21? Yeah, like he's a smart businessman.
Good for him.
Yeah.
So 3 years ago, I had Tommy in here,
Oh
and
my
it
God.
was.
I need to listen to that.
I have for an hour, and it's.
Did you ever get an answer out of him?
Dude, not only did I not get an answer, but like the questions, he would look at me like I was asking stupid questions. Like something that I learned in the book, which I'm sure you guys talk about in the film, is that, and this was groundbreaking. Nobody had done this before. Tommy built a contraption so that he could use 2 cameras to shoot the movie simultaneously on film as well as 1080 HD video.
Wow.
Because
But
he didn't know which one was going to work.
Right. But the thing about it is, like,
So why not spend double the money?
Yeah.
it's two different. You can't light. You can't have one set of lighting for both those things. It doesn't
And
work.
you also can't shoot anything simultaneously because every frame will be slightly off.
Right.
So, and that's the way the movie is kind of presented. These are the choices. The other thing about Tommy was, in Hollywood or whatever, you rent equipment, right? Because of depreciation.
Yes.
And Tommy bought all the equipment because of depreciation. Like, well, wait, but don't you understand that your reasoning for buying it is the reasoning why you should rent
No,
it?
because depreciation.
Yeah, he is a character. Like he once told me, he's like, Paul, just ask me whatever you want to ask me. And I said, well, all right, well, how old are you? And then he proceeded to tell me a 5-minute story about building a steel building with his bare hands and how he had these beautiful windows, but not a strong foundation. And then I was like, right, okay, how old are you? And he's like, you can't have good windows without a foundation. I was like, okay, there we go.
Yeah, good point.
Next question. All right, we're moving
He
on.
did that. Dude, he was in here and he said, move on, next question. I mean, over and over.
It's so funny.
Because you try to go back to him and you go like, wait, but I don't think you actually said. And he goes, but move on, next question.
I will say that one of the best things about Tommy, and I think one of the things that the Disaster Artist does really well, is it doesn't set out to be like this Rosetta Stone of the room. It gives you like this a picture of these 2 guys, and it doesn't answer those questions, because I think if you answer those questions, if you find out how old he is, where he got his money, all these things.
Street Fashions USA.
Yeah, Street Fashions USA. Oh my God, he sold jeans, people. It's like finding out about midichlorians in Star Wars. It's like, oh, did that make it better?
Right,
No, it didn't. And so I think what's kind of fun about the Disaster Artist is you can really see it without ever having to see the room. But I guarantee you, if you see the Disaster Artist, you're going to want to go see the room immediately. And definitely, and for you especially, stay for the post-credit sequence. At the very end of the movie, there is it's like the closest thing to a Marvel teaser at the end. So
the Avengers show up.
It's so the very end of the credits, you will be pleasantly surprised.
But so I bring up the cameras because he ended up when he put the movie out, obviously he just used what he shot with the film camera, right? And then he's in here and he's got the Blu-ray of The Room. And I go, so Tommy, we have the Blu-ray here. And he goes, yes. And I go, and is the Blu-ray a direct film transfer? And he goes, yes. And I go, okay. You shot the movie in HD. You never used it. Blu-ray is an HD format. Why didn't you use the HD version of the film for the Blu-ray? And he goes, because film is better. Move on. Next question.
It's amazing.
It's incredible. It's the only time I was telling our producer Travis this. It's the only time that like I don't work in film.
Right.
I do radio. You know. This is the only time that a film has ever been produced that I'm like, oh, I wish I was working on that movie. Like I don't work at movies. Why?
It's amazing because you realize how much you know about movies by seeing The Room, because it takes everything that you know and throws it out the window. Like you're like, oh, that's not like anyone can watch The Room and go like, something's wrong here. Like it's like you know something's up immediately.
Were you aware when you guys are making? Because I think when people first found out that Disaster Artist was going to be made into a movie, it felt like Franco and Rogan were just kind of doing this passion project because they loved The Room and they were going to get a bunch of guys like you who also and like just make a fun movie for those of us that are obsessed. And as the months go on, Oscar buzz pops up, and it's on everybody's top 10 list of movies of the year, and I'm going like, what? When did this happen?
Well, I think what it is like there's two ways you could make the movie, right? One is like the Bowfinger version where you're kind of like punching down, it's like making fun of it, and the other way was how can we make this dumb movie where they're basically making a really dumb movie like about the worst movie ever made. How can we make that really, really smart? And I think what Seth and Franco did was they got these amazing screenwriters, the guys who wrote like 500 Days of Summer, Spectacular Now, Paper Towns, like to write this like emotional story about these two guys, Tommy and Greg. And that's your entry point for this movie. You're watching like this reverse La La Land. It's like, these two people with big dreams that doesn't work out quite well for. Or it does. It works out well for them, but just not in the way that we're used to it working out, And so I think they really set out to build a foundation of a real movie and then put all the funny stuff on top of it. So there's something about this movie, I was obviously in it, I was invested in it, but when you watch it, you're like, I'm like emotionally moved by certain things. Like you feel moved by Tommy. Like James Franco adds a level of humanity to Tommy that I've never seen from actual Tommy. And I think that is, I think that is kind of the benefit of the movie. It's a movie about these two guys that are helping each other make this piece of art that is art in the most yeah, right.
I mean, you know what? The Room as a movie, I think it's art because you can feel somebody's hands on it. You know what I mean? Like you could tell a person, a guy, for better or worse, created this movie. It's not a corporate thing.
There's so few films in the world that are untouched by anyone. And this is one of those films. Like Steven Spielberg has amazing DPs, and they'll be like, well, I'm going to do this shot, and the DP might be like, well, we'll do it like this. Tommy's like, no, I'll tell you how we're going to do it. I wrote it. I'm going to act in it. He was doing every part of it.
Right.
Greg had stolen all these things from Tommy, and like audio tapes of Tommy, like recording things to himself, his thoughts to himself, and also this documentary that Tommy made about the making of The Room. He had someone following him around. Documentary is the most boring thing ever. It's like 8 hours, and it's like I've seen like security cam footage that is more interesting. But at certain points, as I was scrubbing through it, you could watch Tommy on set like yelling at people, or you're not yelling, but like giving people notes, and no one paying him any mind. And it's like, and it was like interesting to see. Like, but this is a guy like he was fully in control. Like whatever you saw there is 100% one person's vision, and I feel like that is a success because there's like only like 4 movies I think that is one person.
That's such an interesting thing too, and the way you tell that story is how you get pulling on people's heartstrings. Is that like on one end you've got Tommy kind of being a dick and ordering people around even though he doesn't know what he's doing, but on the other end you've got all these people that he hired that are like treating him like an asshole, like not paying any attention to him, and then you feel like bad for him, right?
Well, I mean, look, I believe this firmly. I think the reason why Tommy made The Room is because he wanted companionship, friendship. He wanted love. Like this is a guy who, to me, feels like he's a little bit of like an island, and he wants to have it. So the movie went on like. It was like a 65-day shoot for this movie that took place on sets. They didn't even go anywhere. So and he like I don't think he wanted the movie to end because then his friends would go away. And there's something like really wonderful about like this guy who's like I want my friends around, and that was the only way he was going to get them.
There are a bunch of rooftop scenes in the movie.
Yes,
where it's like it's really poorly green screened. Background of a cityscape. And you don't realize until you read the book or see the movie, obviously, that the green screens were placed outdoors anyway. Like you could have just.
He was, like they build an alley set inside the stages when they're shooting next to a real alley. Like, that is the level of stuff that is going on. So I think the movie, if you're a Room fan, it really pays off a lot of those things. And, it doesn't have everything from the book, but it definitely gives you an idea of some of the better, the heightened parts of the book. But it really does tell the story. I think you understand Tommy a little bit, which is that's the hardest thing.
What was your takeaway from Greg Sestero, who's the guy who is the co-star of the original Room movie, but he wrote the book.
Yes.
He lived with Tommy. He spent all this time because I've talked to him a bunch.
Yeah.
Right. And the one thing that still, I've interviewed him. I've talked to him privately.
Yes.
I text with him, and I still can't wrap my head around exactly what the relationship was or what his motivation was, because he's so aware of
he is, right? I will tell you, I think Greg is the sweetest, nicest guy.
Yes. And
this is my opinion on their relationship. It's like the cool kid in high school who's friends with the nerd, right? It's like, that nerd, he's a nerd, I know. But then when the doors are closed, hey man, we're buddies. You know what I was saying? It's like he is aware and he is smart, but I think he genuinely likes and loves. They're friends. They hang out. They do, and there is yes, he knows that he's got all these quirks, but I really believe that there is a love there. They are, for better or for worse, their success is tied together,
right?
And they protect each other, and they treat each other well. And I feel but that's whenever I see them, I'm like, you're the cool kid who has a nerdy friend who doesn't want to admit that you really like that nerdy friend.
I bet Tommy sees himself as the cool kid who has the nerdy friend named Greg.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Because he told me that the book is maybe 50-50.
Oh, but
maybe 50-50.
But the movie is 99.9.
Oh, wow.
Yes, the movie, and he goes, I go, and so I go, what's the 1% of a percent? And he goes, the way he threw the football. I throw the football better. So that's the only error in the entire movie.
In the whole production. That's got to be rewarding.
But I think that it's an interesting relationship. If Tommy and Greg didn't talk, I don't think that this story would be as interesting. But the fact that they are still in it, they just made a movie together. They travel around the world together. They are he is the Tommy whisperer. Greg is the only one who I think really understands Tommy.
Yeah.
It's a complicated relationship. It's like family or something.
My favorite part of the book is when Greg, I'm sure you've read the book plenty of times.
I've read the book, but if I recommend to anybody, listen to it on audio cassette.
It's the best.
Because he is amazing at doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. But my favorite part of the book is when Greg is describing living with Tommy, and I think it's his first night in L.A. there, and he sleeps on the floor, and Tommy goes, "Good night, Greg," and then he goes into the shower and starts singing A Whole New World while Greg is trying to sleep on the floor. It's just
Tommy is this. It's funny when you watch the movie and if you don't know Tommy, I think you go oh, James Franco's doing a Borat-esque level character. And then when you finally see Tommy, you're like, oh, that's real?
Had you met Tommy before you did the movie?
I did. Oh, I haven't met him, but I had been at screenings that he had been at.
So you
and I knew Greg. That's how I knew him. And so I knew that is what existed. But it was so funny when I was on set. James Franco's in all this makeup, but it was really good looking makeup. And I really was thinking the entire time, I was like, James Franco, he's a fine looking guy. He's fine.
Good looking guy, yeah.
But I was because I was he's wearing this makeup. Everyone says he's so attractive. It's whatever. But I'm oh, I just got so used to him when he finally took off the makeup. I was oh, yeah, you're a gorgeous man. You are. He's beautiful. It was but I got so used to seeing James as Tommy, for a month that I was just accepted because I didn't know James really before the movie, besides seeing him in movies and stuff. So my experience of James Franco was talking with him only as Tommy.
Which is so weird. It's so funny because they, Netflix, did you see the Jim Carrey thing they just put out?
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Amazing, right?
I watched that 2 nights back to back because I was just blown away by what was going on.
So when you're watching that, are you I see the similarities in the Tommy Wiseau, James Franco thing.
The difference is Jim Carrey pissed everybody off.
Yeah.
James Franco wasn't method. It wasn't I am Tommy, you cannot talk to me. I'm he was just affecting, you could talk to James Franco about anything. He would just talk to you as Like it was almost as if like Tommy's voice and mannerisms just came through because he was like, "Oh, this is silly, ha ha ha." But he was commenting it as James. It's a weirder thing. I think he's the first director to ever, the first method director. You know, like he directed in character. Yeah,
because I knew he couldn't have been that method because otherwise he'd have to do kind of a shitty job directing the disaster artist, which you can't do.
No, yeah, like it wasn't like you couldn't talk to James. It was like, but you were just hearing James as Tommy,
right?
Which is a very hard thing to wrap your head around, and I think fascinating too because all you want to do is talk to James because it's like I'm getting to talk to Tommy.
So how did you get involved in the movie? Did you have to audition, or did your reputation precede you as a Room fan?
No, it was really I've been really lucky to kind of work a lot with Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, and they brought me in for the first table read, and the table read James was already full Tommy, and as a fan of The Room, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I had Greg Sestero on my podcast, How Did This Get Made, before he wrote the book. So I had heard some of those stories. So I was really fascinated when I heard they were making this movie. So I got there, and I assumed like James was like, oh, I know he does this podcast, and that's why he probably brought me in there. And then I just found out like a couple weeks ago, I was like, I didn't even know you did that on the. I was like, so I just got brought in to do the table read, and then we were all giving notes on the script, which was already in a great spot when we did it. And I think just James liked the fact that I knew a lot about The Room, and he's like, yeah, come do the movie. And the movie is really cool because it is populated with so many people that you know. It's like every role is filled by someone in a cool way, whether it's, Megan Mullally or Bryan Cranston or Jason Mantzoukas, June Raphael, it's like Zac Efron, Josh Hutcherson. It's like everywhere you look, Nathan Fielder, it's like there is someone in there like, oh my God. It's fun to watch that way.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's just so cool that the thing's getting made and it's getting as much mainstream attention.
Oh, it's and I think to the credit of everybody involved, they made a good movie. And I think and it does service. Like for Tommy to go 99.9% and the book is only 50, it's like that's big. It's pretty big.
So do you is there any part of you that starts to feel like because you were on this thing so early, that feels like you're that's my band that's becoming famous?
No, I am excited because it's like I want people to experience The Room.
Yeah.
Like Rocky Horror Picture Show, very campy. Everyone knows the Rocky Horror Picture Show. If you saw it, if you didn't, I don't think people know The Room. I think it's a smaller group of people that are familiar with this film. And I hope that this movie will bring attention to both of these things. And you watch them almost as a double feature. But I want more people to be watching The Room and learn about it because it's still one of those things where you're like, oh, yeah, we're doing a movie about the making of The Room. Like the Brie Larson movie? Well, not the Brie Larson one. Like not Room, The Room. Like, oh, I never heard of it. Because it is still it's a little underground.
It is.
I'm excited for it to, it's more like I'm excited big. I listened to this band and now they got a major record deal,
Right.
So it's, hopefully.
Tommy better upgrade his broadband for his website.
By the way, check out that website if you get a chance.
It's amazing.
TheRoom.com.
I think it's TheRoomMovie.com.
Oh, yes, that makes perfect sense.
TheRoomMovie.com.
Like when you look at this, it is like something that was created in the late 80s. Scroll down just a little bit. We're looking at it on the screen.
Is that a geosite?
You're looking at it, it's like there's like weird flag emojis. Nothing is.
This looks like a flat Earth website.
Yeah. It is amazing. TheRoomMovie.com. Oh my gosh. But yeah, he is authentic. I know a lot of people go like, well, but he knows he's in on the joke. I think he's in on a joke. But it's not the joke that we're in on.
No, he thinks that he's now in control of the joke.
Yes,
but it's not the same joke.
And then he'll do things that are so funny. He's like, I was at dinner with him one time, and he just started laughing. I'm like, what are you laughing at, Tommy? He goes, I'm just, you don't want to know. And we go, all right. And he goes, well, no, tell us. He's like, just thinking of being naked on a beach. That's it. So he in the middle of dinner is just thinking of himself naked on a beach. Like that's Tommy. Like
I try to when I have people on the show that are kind of off center.
Yeah,
I like to have my interaction with them on the air and then kind of not be around after. So when he came in here, I had him come in while we were on the air. And I had two friends in that had never seen The Room before.
Oh,
so they didn't. It was, It was just like, and so as soon as we're over, I'd take a picture. Thanks, man. That was so great. And I go to the bathroom, figuring he'll be gone by the time I get back. I get back, and he's still holding court in here.
Of course. He's not going to leave.
No. And so I walk in, And like just when you think some of it might be an act, he goes, "Oh, thank you, Sam." I go, "Oh, yeah, man, thanks for coming." He goes, "Do you want me to bless you?"
What?
And I was like, "Yeah, I guess."
And he did?
And he goes, "Okay, bow your head." And so I bowed my head. He takes out a Tommy Wiseau dog tag. He kisses it. He puts it around my neck and puts it on. And then he crosses himself. And he goes, "You are blessed." It was amazing.
You can't get better than that. Holy crap. He does have those dog tags. This guy is I can tell you, he is a master marketer. Like his website and everything you can buy it all goes directly to Tommy. All proceeds to Tommy.
I thought in an effort to familiarize, as much as we've been talking about him, I actually have the liners.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Would you want to hear the liners that he did for the show?
Yes, 100%.
And Mike, you'd want to.
I'm very excited.
You'd want to hear these too. Yeah. So keep in mind, like, my name's Sam Roberts, right? Mm-hmm. It's not a tough name. It's a pretty straightforward
100%
broadcaster name. Some people think it's fake. It's not fake.
Yeah.
And I just talked to him for an hour.
Right.
So it's like.
What you've talked.
And we're familiar
with each other. And by the way,
just
if you're not here, we're in a studio in which every mic says Sam Roberts. So like it's
on a TV.
Yeah, it's printed. It's you can't miss it.
So I had Troy bring him into the other studio where they do production, and I think we have what we got from him. Do we have it, Travis? Yes.
Hey, this is Tommy Wiseau, and we are back more with Sam Roberts show. Let me do one. Hey, we are back from. Hey, we are back. What?
We're back with more of the Sam Roberts show.
Hey, we are back more with Sam Roberts show. We are back more of Sam Roberts show. Let me do one more time.
Sam Roberts show.
Yeah.
Okay. We are back more of Sam Roberts show. Hey, this is Tommy Wiseau, and you listen to Sam Roberts show. We are back. We are back more of Sam Roberts show. Hey, this is Tommy Wiseau, and you listen Sam Roberts show.
I just like that he made Troy's job easier because he added the sounds himself.
I love it.
And I produced those for your show.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is there was these large spaces of dead air where he's just literally standing in front of the microphone, not doing anything. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
Right.
And he'll go, "You're listening to Sam Rob." You're listening to, and then he'd just be like, I literally had no idea what the hell was going on.
He's like having a PTSD moment as he was like recording promos. Oh, I did a movie with him. So I'm in Tommy and Greg say that they have completed the trilogy, which is The Room, The Disaster Artist, and then they've made another film together called Best Friends.
They have?
Yes. It's a 2-part film. I was not aware of that when I got the script.
Oh.
It was one script. And Greg had said, "Will you come and do a part in the movie?" I said, "Absolutely."
But they did it like Kill Bill. Like they did an epic movie and they're going to split it into two?
The script pages did not dictate that it would be a 2-parter from what I saw, but
It
who
was
knows?
an 11-page
So
script.
there's not an organic spot in the script where you're like, oh, obviously this is a second.
I think it was like a 100-page script, which is about the normal length of like a 90-minute movie. So he goes, "Will you come and do a part?" I said, "Absolutely." And so I do my part with Tommy in a morgue, which was amazing. Getting to act with Tommy, who, again, he's traveled the world. He's doing these promos. You're interviewing him. He's going around he is not unfamiliar with doing stuff. It was as if he was on set for the first time. And I was like, okay, like we're doing these scenes. And then we were like, let's open it up. We'll improvise a little bit. And my character's name in that movie is Malmo. And he goes, "No, Malmo, no, Malmo." His improvising was just saying, "No, Malmo, no, Malmo." And it was never doing anything besides just saying, "No, Malmo." And so I shot it.
So that's the old improv rule of no.
Yeah, no.
No,
no, and just repeat the character's name.
Yeah.
So I shot it, and it was fun. There's a part of me that thought I was being pranked. There's like a million people around documenting the thing. And so about a year passes, and I get I see a tweet, and it was like, "Hey, I loved you in Best Friends. Greg just screened it in Scandinavia, whatever it was. And he says you're going to be in part 2. And I go, 2. I was like, part 2.
We make sequel.
Yeah, and so I don't know how they cut up the I did.
Like there's not enough. There shouldn't be enough footage for 2.
I don't know how I'm in 2 parts of it, but I will say that I was there on the day where they had this final scene where a guy in a motorcycle rides into a driveway, right, and this big imposing guy. So I sent out a thing on Craigslist or whatever to get somebody to ride a motorcycle in. Somebody said, "Oh yeah, I can do it." And they have this big. I don't know anything about motorcycles, but I know it's like a big giant like Harley, like one of those ones that you look at and you're like, "Whoa, it's a monster," you know. And the guy gets there and he's like, "Oh, I've never rode that kind of motorcycle." And they're like, "Well, what do you mean?" He's like, "I'm only a dirt bike rider." And they're like, "You can do it." No, he couldn't. Right? He got on that thing and it was like a Scooby-Doo cartoon. He hit the gas. The motorcycle like shot out from like underneath this guy. Like he fell on the ground. I'm like, "Oh my God, look, I'm gonna be on the death. Like there's gonna be a death on this movie." And you know, then like, "Well, we got to make this scene work. We got to make it intimidating." So the way that they kind of like figured it out was they just like had the guy walk the motorcycle into the driveway. Like it was like, so there's like intimidating moment of like, the bad guy's back. Well, like walking this motorcycle in.
My bike stalled.